As the population increases, freedom rapidly declines. Laws, serving as a mediator between people, will be used to regulate human interactions, but can disrupt the everyday routine of everyone's lives. Democracy is threatened due to overpopulation and could give rise to totalitarian-style governments as more people need a stronger ruling body to control them. Rules and restrictions can be a good idea, but only because they are necessary to fill the needs of the growing population, encouraging such policies. If a leader can manipulate these laws in order to strengthen their power over the community, they are able to take control of the government. In the hypothetical dystopia of Viridia, this is exactly what happens. The world has been taken over by the Directorate of the Combined Community, who has come to the conclusion that in order to stop the growing world population, they will take people from the overpopulated areas and move them to Greenland, renamed Viridia. In order to control this population, the committee, an elite ruling council, was created with a new secret police: disease control. The people have come to trust the rule of the committee, believing that their actions are for the community's benefit, but, as one can expect, this is not the case. Power can be a corruptive force, especially when leaders can delude themselves into thinking that they are working for the greater good, using socialized power, power used to benefit others, but engage in behavior that is morally wrong. A sense of power can cause one to engage in a concept called exception making, or believing that the rules which govern what is right and what is wrong do not apply to the powerful leader. Leaders can also become intoxicated by power, engaging in wrong behavior simply because they can and they can get away with it. This corruption of power exists in Viridia, especially as the committee gives the wealthier members of society their own privileges. There are 3 rings of Viridian society: the inner ring, the center governmental location of the committee and disease control; the middle ring, the wealthy upper-class region of large, spacious housing and glamorous, ornate buildings; and finally, the thin outer ring consists of houses, piled up on top of one another with severely overpopulated society. Each of the 146 cities consists of this basic structure. The capital, City 1, is where the committee rules out of, but all other 145 cities contain a small local ruling body, residing under City 1. This distribution of power begins the corruption of the committee. Because the outer ring has become so overpopulated, the committee has created a disease, morbus, to efficiently but secretly wipe out the lower classes. Overpopulation exacerbates many social and environmental factors, including overcrowded living conditions, pollution, malnutrition, and inadequate or non-existent healthcare, which wreak havoc on the poor and increase their likelihood of being exposed to infectious diseases. Using this logic, the disease control distributes weekly doses of the disease into their outer rings. In order to protect the wealthy middle and inner rings, whom the committee doesn't want to destroy, particularly because of their obedience to the committee, a vaccine is issued, morbus vaccinum, to cure each person of any harmful infection. But in order to keep the outer ring naive and unassuming, disease control also issues them the vaccine, only it is a placebo, allowing the disease to rapidly spread to all corners of the outer ring. This ability of the committee to use their absolute power to wipe out the lower classes is a representation of power corruption, or even a depiction of the manipulation of the position of power. In order to prevent the appointing of a council of corruption, we must limit the effects of overpopulation, which allows an elite ruling body to control so many people in the first place. Because of people's lack access to information and affordable means and services to determine the size and spacing of their families, overpopulation dramatically increases. In order to prevent it, we all must create widespread availability of family planning, promote the spread of awareness on the causes and effects of overpopulation, and provide easier access to birth control devices. We also must create new social norms, such as social marketing strategies to educate the public, particularly in developing countries, about overpopulation and provide them with the tools they need to make the decisions they want. Just as in George Orwell's 1984, an elite ruling group contains absolute power over the community of Viridia. George Orwell is trying to bring to attention the awareness of totalitarian government is severely important. Orwell wrote 1984 as a warning to modern society of the damage that can come from embracing totalitarian regimes. He wrote that the fall of democracy and the election of an absolute ruler will create the fall of one's own identity. As shown by Viridia, the danger of overpopulation can result in the fall of society itself. The need for a powerful government to control the growing mass of people creates a pathway for a group, such as the committee, to take power from the people. Just as in 1984, the population loses the concept and the ability of choice, leaving a naive generation of people only able to imagine a world under perpetual conditions.